There has been a lot of talk about transfers in recent weeks, but could it be argued that Kris Sutton was the best signing of the season? Or, in case of Marmite, you either love it or you hate it. The banter between Kris Sutton and Kris Boyd. It's either funny or it's either disgraceful. What's it going to be? We're going to discuss it. It's going to be a generalised feed, and there's a lot of stuff they covered in the actual post-match game against Aberdeen, whether it be handballs, red card, VAR, Neil Warnock's, team talks, whatever. But we're going to talk about, does it benefit the Scottish game? Because it does split people down the middle, right? And we're used to splits down the middle here. But I am going to give my opinion first, and I think it's great. As much as I think at times it is petulant, right? And I think tonight, they should have been talked about more of the game after it, and they should have talked about the fact there's a title fight. I think they literally just tried to spin the post-match analysis into, oh, well, look, Rangers never get penalties against them at Ibrox. They went chasing for the handball. For me, it was never a handball. I mean, he's in a natural position, and then the one on the deck, as they talked about, the rule is, if you're falling, it cannot be a penalty. As Boyd clearly pointed out and said, well, I was correct of the rule with the Alistair Johnson incident doing at Kilmarnock, but Kris Sutton said that wasn't a penalty then, and now he wants to say this one is. But apparently it was a foul in between, and it's like so much is being made of those two penalties. They're just completely and utterly digging up in here. I like this. It's funny. I was laughing my head off at parts here, and Boyd's like, oh, we'll get the day all tomorrow. We touch on the knee, like that iconic moment between Thierry Henry and Jamie Carragher, but it's also banter, and there's actually passion and rivalry here. You watch the English one, yeah, Roy Keane comes out with the odd thing, but that's his job. He comes out with that, right, and it's alright. Roy Keane's dryness works. Joe Lewis may have sat here like a sore thumb, he looks like Mr. Bean, a crack addict Mr. Bean. But for me, I like Kris Boyd, I like Kris Sutton getting stuck into each other. They may kind of be both obsessed, but I think it benefits the game, even if it is a tad petulant. What do you think?
It's passionate. I enjoy it. Fucking sometimes a boring game can be made fun with Boyd and Sutton there. So yeah, no, it adds a different element. Sometimes I'm looking more forward to half time and full time, just due to the fact that they're doing commentary and analysts. So no, Boyd, Sutton, it's good for the game. I enjoy the banter. I think it sums up Scottish football. It's not super professional like the English league. English football, English pundits bore me. Boyd and Sutton don't.
Yeah, I think it doesn't really matter on the reality of what happens in the game. Like, I think this was a good game tonight. I'm not saying it was like a classic. Oh, the football on display was absolutely unreal. I don't think you're going to be getting that in the Scottish Premiership if we're being brutally honest about it. You look at the last two Old Firms, there's been a lot of talking points and a lot of controversy in them, but I mean, in terms of games and quality on display, it's not really there. For me, this game, the atmosphere is probably better than both of the Old Firms, and that's not even a dig at Celtic. I mean, Rangers hosted one as well. I thought the atmosphere today was on point. You could argue, well, Rangers were winning, that's why it was a lot better than the Old Firm in the opening game of the season. But I think what these two have and what Sky brings to the game, it is better. That England is far too formal. It's far too professional. And I actually like Sutton. They can have a joke with each other. They banter, and it's jokes with Jags. Down in England, they don't do it. They do it the odd time, right? But it just doesn't work. And I think the fact that they've had it, Sutton, I would actually go as far, even though I don't like Sutton, right? He's a Celtic man, and I think he's way more obsessed than Boyd. And all he does is have a go about Rangers on Twitter. I mean, you look at Boyd, he barely even posts about Celtic. He does his wee columns over in the Daily Record, etc. But he knows how to wind them up. You seen him tonight with his smirks looking at the camera, and he's like, oh, maybe if we look at it a fifth time, Don Robertson will give a penalty, all that stuff. He knows how to twist the knife in. Well, I actually think Sutton is obsessed with Rangers way more than Boyd is obsessed with Celtic, and then you just had Joe Lewis sitting there, kind of like a spare part. And then I think the presenter also kind of feeds into it, but she's being told in her ear, here, say this about Boyd, say this to Sutton, show this incident. When in reality, yeah, they could talk about the game, they could talk about the implications on the title fight. If you actually look at the post-match game, they didn't talk pretty much anything about the title fight. Sutton said Clements did a great job, and the title's on, and then it was like, let's look at the handball. Then they talked about the interviews that both managers had. Then they quickly went back to the handball and went, oh, it's been cleared up, there was a foul in between. And that didn't get us anywhere, because Joe Lewis's argument was, well, I thought the first incident was a penalty, which came before it. Anyway, guys, it can be petulant, it can be banter, but I think it's good for the game. It adds something. Like, you don't want to tune into the post-match and be bored. like certain podcasts out there. But anyway, till next time, peace.